Following the release of the lockdown files that has exposed the whole of the establishment, the former Health Secretary Matt Hancock has gone to lawyers to seek legal immunity in case he gets into trouble. Shameless. Absolutely shameless. Everything has to be about Matt Hancock. Everything is about him. He is the queen of the show. It's the Matt Hancock show starring Matt Hancock. Now that we know more about what happened during the lockdown days, and this channel, and we have a playlist on the channel if you want to check it out. It's called Lockdown Files. Every day we're adding more to it as we find more revelations about the idiocy of people in power and all the dodgy stuff they did. Earlier on today, we talked about how Matt Hancock was discussing with his advisors on deploying more variant to scare the public into lockdowns. Now, Matt and Gina, his girlfriend, who he cheated with on his wife, are now basically seeking legal immunity because they know that a lot of these things that are being exposed are going to get him into trouble. He might get punished, especially the way they handled the early days of lockdown, both the PPE stuff as well as what they did to the elderly and their families and what they did. And these pictures that we've seen so many times since 2020 is sad and depressing. And they didn't have a proper normal policy to be able to shield and protect the vulnerable and the elderly, at the same time make sure that the whole country doesn't go down. They didn't apologize. They didn't really say, we've learned from mistakes and we could do differently this time. They haven't even said that. They doubled down. And now, especially what happened in the care homes, all this stuff is going to get Hancock into trouble. So he's now seeking immunity. He wants to make sure that he's protected at least. Really? If anyone has to get into trouble, it has to be you. You were the health secretary. You were the one who was responsible for these policy decision makings, the whole process. Now, there's another issue, which is about the PPE stuff. Now, the latest figures reveal that the government is still storing about 6.6 billion items of unused or unusable PPE in warehouses costing £319,000 a day. This is just a small figure in the huge the scandal that we have around the PPEs and everything else around the governance of public health. This is bad because it's not really just about the number, it's the principle. A lot of these PPEs, they're not obviously usable, and a lot of them is going to get expired. And a lot of them was already dodgy anyway in the first place. And now we have to have Matt Hancock at least protecting his own reputation, apparently. His reputation is gone. There's no way that Matt Hancock could have any credibility. And then there's some people were quite worried when he went to the jungle to do a reality show on a celebrity. They were worried, saying, well, is this going to change the perception of Matt Hancock? Some people are going to find him now popular and like a nice teddy bear. Well, no, because these lockdown files have reminded people of who he actually is. Now, in a Q&A that Matt Hancock did, he also claimed to have banned alcohol in his department, one of the press conferences during the lockdown, to stop his team being more social. So he said that. He publicly announced alcohol is banned when you're working during lockdown. But leaked WhatsApp documents that we now have with conversations reveal that his advisor at the time, Gina, who's now his current girlfriend, telling him that there were drinks parties, there were drinks in the fridge to celebrate having parties because they hit their testing target in May 2020. So only weeks into the first lockdown. She wrote in one of the WhatsApp messages with using a beer glass emoji, drinks cold in the fridge at Department of Health. Feel free to open before we are back. Even though, literally on the same day, Matt Hancock went on in front of the TV in the public saying, well, if you're staying at home, we're going to stay at home. And if we have to be in the office in government, we're going to do social distancing. We're not going to have drinks. It's funny. These things were more scandalous than Boris Johnson for 5 minutes standing by birthday cake that he didn't even know about. He didn't even have his cake. Poor guy. Of all the things, I'm not really completely defending Boris, but all these other people around Boris Johnson who were breaking the rules, who were coming up with idiotic policies, they didn't really get into trouble properly. Boris Johnson got fined over one gathering that wasn't actually technically even breaking the rules. And now it's been exposed, thanks to Sue Gray undermining her own report by becoming Keir Starmer's chief of staff. We've now got more evidence that Boris Johnson's fine, the incident that he received a fine over, that one event that he was there, that wasn't even breaking the rules. It was a technicality compared to all the others around Boris Johnson. All of them, the ministers, the civil servant, everybody, the advisors who were constantly having parties and breaking the rules. What happened to them? Still nothing. Absolutely nothing. Anyway, let me know what you think. We're going to come back in half an hour. We're going to talk about Sue Gray. Of course, we're going to talk about Sue Gray because we've discovered that she is clearly broken the impartiality rules of civil service by secretly meeting with the Labour Party and Keir Starmer before she even got the job as his chief of staff. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.